Good morning, or evening, I guess. I'm here to tell you something. It's something I probably shouldn't even be telling you. And trust me, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't ordered to with an individual, or I guess, individuals. I don't know. I don't want to tell you these things, but this is an order, and I must follow it. Well, for starters, I'm part of a team of psychiatric evaluators for survivors of paranormal and cryptic events. Most of our clients are teens that played with the Ouija board in the wrong place, or in some cases, played with the wrong Ouija board. Once or twice, we get the whole, there's a little girl in a white dress floating around our house that we just moved into bit. Or another one of those fucking possessed dolls. I hate those damn things. On occasion, however, we get an agent. Well, I call them agents. But they're actually called something else. I'm just not allowed to say. These agents are very, very powerful people who deal, dwell, dive, and shit, even in some cases dying around the paranormal. These agents are required to have psychiatric evaluations after every mission or two, so they're sent to us. Most of us have a gift or some sort of connection to the realm of the unknown, so it makes a lot of sense. That's what I'm here to talk about. I had my first agent client about a week ago. I'm not allowed to give certain details about the agent, but I can say one thing. He was young, but the power emanating off of his presence was old and overwhelming. I've seen things, and being from the Middle East, I see a plethora of auras and energies, but not one has been this large or cold in temperature or safe. His eyes were two different colors, and they seemed to look calmly at my inner self, ignoring the flesh. We sat down to have some tea, and he touches his cup and jump because it was too hot. I offered ice, but he said no. Slowly, he puts his pinky into the tea itself. Slowly, the steam from the cup went from a small white cloud to a clear ripple in the air. I was impressed. Such a young face had such talent. But we weren't there to talk about his magic tricks, so I got to work. He started telling me about previous missions he was on, and as usual, I'm not allowed to tell you everything. The things I am allowed to tell you, however, are still strange, even for me. He had been hunting a myth for about a month. Oh, a myth in my team's code word for any cryptic or paranormal being. Anyways, his target had been hunting the homeless around downtown Seattle and some of the college students in the University of Washington District. He slipped into the student body as an art student and conducted investigations throughout the day. Something he had noticed was that in every location where there was a body or a lack of one, there were spider webs. He thought of it as hair at first because of the thickness, but he had it analyzed and found out that whatever was hunting the students and homeless was a loner and possibly a college student. At this point, he began to hesitate to talk, so I knew it was about to get personal for him. Before I even got the chance to encourage him, he took a sip of the tea and began again. A girl began to talk to him in one of his art classes, and as soon as they became an item, it wasn't allowed for the agents to get too involved with the people outside of their circle. But according to him, perfection is something you should never pass up. He smiled as he talked about her. He even laughed when he talked about some of their drunken endeavors. It was a sad laugh, but a laugh nonetheless. His smile left his face, and he started saying how he began to notice she would leave his bed in the middle of the night. He cringed when he began to explain how he found spiders wherever she went. He killed one in front of her once, and she looked at him, looked at the dead spider, and picked up the corpse as if picking up a child, speaking to it. He looked at me and then looked out the window. He said after that, the spiders began showing up more frequently. They were getting larger. Then he began finding white hair like webbing in his bed after she had come over the night, and on her clothes, and even in their art class. He started to tell me he went to her home, and that he realized that he had never been there before, and that he had forgotten his mission. He got to her home. It was on the corner of the neighborhood right between the two locations of the disappearances and murders. The windows were blacked out, but everything else looked brand new. Even the lawn was perfect. The front door was open and he walked in. He said after the door closed, his eyes adjusted to the dark. He reached for the wall and stopped as soon as he realized what a mistake he was about to make. The colors of the wall had been cocooned by webbing, and remains of over a few dozen or so humans were strung up, adhered to the walls and ceilings like macaroni crafts. He found his target. He roamed the house, finding the stairs and then the master bedroom. A spider, about the size of a laptop, brushed his leg, pushing past him and the door to the bedroom. As if in a rush, he walked in, small streaks of light breaking through the webbed windows, putting the trinkets and Japanese dolls on display. Japanese dresses covered the bed like dried leaves. The smell of perfume and tea lingered through the space. He was startled by the voice of his target. "I didn't want to," she said. He faced her and looked into her eyes. "You're not supposed to fall in love with prey." At this point, he stopped the teacup in one hand and his face in the other. I asked if he completed his mission, and he put his teacup down, stood up, straightened his coat, and looked at me in the eyes. "I'm here, aren't I?" he chuckled. He walked to the door, said thank you, and he requested me next time. I went to pick up his cup and realized the remaining tea inside of it had been frozen to a pale white, like the cup had frost on it. I looked up the door, and in my peripheral vision, the spot he had been sitting, right where I think his shoulder would have been, there was a quarter-size black, white, and yellow spider crawling to the seat of the couch, crawling ever so slowly and elegantly. If you liked this video, please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and as always, thank you for listening.